I'm Donna Bell, and welcome to this extended edition of Time Travel Plus. This is an exclusive production of WJHG News Channel 7 in Panama City, Florida, where we step back in time and take a look at stories that made headlines in years gone by. In this episode, we're going back to 1979, when Bob Graham was becoming governor, M.B. Miller was the mayor in Panama City Beach, when air shows were still all the rage, but looked a little different, and the movie Condominium starring Barbara Eden was being filmed over at Phillips Inlet. And we're going to show you how the weather forecasts were done back in 1979, handwritten on a map. So sit back, relax, and enjoy our trip back in time as we explore the year 1979.
Florida started the year with a new administration in Tallahassee. Governor-elect Bob Graham and his lieutenant governor running mate, Wayne Mixon of Mariana, won election to the top state post in a hotly contested campaign. It was a cold, dark, and windy day in January in Tallahassee for the inauguration. The weather was so bad, the swearing in of the governor was moved up over a quarter of an hour.
And that I will well and faithfully
perform the duties of Governor of the State of Florida.
Perform the duties of Governor of the State of Florida.
On which I am now about to enter.
On which I am now about to enter.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations, Governor.
One of Governor Bob Graham's staunchest opponents in the gubernatorial campaign was State Senator Dempsey Barron of Panama City. Barron and Senator W.D. Childers of Pensacola appeared on half-hour television political programs in support of Graham's opponent, Attorney General Robert Shevin, and they blasted what they called Graham's liberal Miami stance on many issues. 6 months later, Barron and Graham, apparently good political friends once again, mended their differences and appeared together in a special 30-minute program here on TV 7. The program led some to believe the governor and Barron were such good friends now that Graham was endorsing a Barron re-election bid.
Have you been giving encouragement to Senator Barron to seek another term in office?
Senator Barron has been in politics a lot longer than I have, and he knows his constituents and his area better than I could. Dempsey and I did have a very good relationship during the last session of the legislature. We worked together on many areas, particularly financial areas. I would look forward to his continued support during the upcoming session of the legislature.
E.L. King resigned early this year as administrator of the financially troubled Bay Memorial Medical Center. King denied his resignation was forced, but insiders said the resignation was requested by some members of the Board of Trustees because of the hospital's financial situation.
Well, I thought this over and went back and discussed it with Mr. Clemens and asked him if truly this was his feeling that I should resign, and he said it was. And I told him then I would entertain the notion of resigning. And we worked out a date of May 31st for my resignation, and I resigned effective May 31st.
Late in 1978, International Paper Company announced it was putting its Panama City paper mill up for sale and would close it down if the mill and its associated woodlands were not sold by the spring. The announcement threatened directly the jobs of over 1,000 persons and thousands more indirectly. Early in 1979, when things looked their gloomiest, IP made the big announcement. The mill had been sold and wouldn't close down. James Wood of International Paper's New York corporate offices revealed the good news.
Southwest Forest Industries and International Paper Company jointly announced today
that the companies have signed a letter of intent under which Southwest Forest will purchase IP's Panama City, Florida pulp and paper mill, approximately 425,000 acres of associated woodlands, and developable lands in Florida, Alabama, and Georgia, and the stock of the Atlanta and St. Andrews Bay Railroad.
The Panama City Mill was termed by many as a money loser for International Paper, but the new owner, Southwest Forest Industries, said it was confident things would change. W.A. Frankie is the president and chief executive officer of Southwest Forest Industries.
We have to go through each part of the mill and establish how the mill will run to be most productive and how we can improve the bottom line. This is a substantial investment for a company our size. In order to make it work, in order to make this a viable operation and to benefit this community and the employees at the mill, we have to look at the bottom line. We've got to improve the margin.
Southwest Gamble in Panama City was right on the money. By the end of the year, the corporation showed record profits. The Panama City Mill and its Woodlands division were given a majority of the credit. Late in February, Panama City voters turned out at the polls for their biannual city election. Mayor M.B. Miller was elected to another term as the city's chief executive officer. Mike Nelson, a Panama City new car dealer, and CM Kid Harris were elected to 4-year terms as city commissioners.
Tell me a little bit about what you're doing with condominium right here. You're all through
well, today
right now.
I spent most of the time in a hurricane.
How did you like hurricanes?
I don't like it.
You like
I don't
that
like
good
it. All
calm
wet.
and, what part do you play?
I play the part of Barbara Messenger. My husband is Ralph Bellamy, and we live in the condominium. And that's about it. I don't think I could tell you much more unless I told you the story.
The whole story just takes part in the condominium. I know when
That's
I read
right.
it, and the end is very exciting.
Yes,
and
that's what we've been doing.
I was going to say,
today.
is that the part that you've been filming?
Yeah,
And do you do this out of context? In other words, you filmed another part?
Yes.
And go to this, and then you
Yeah.
go back to another part
we
of the
did
movie?
part of this in Los Angeles, and then we finished it up here.
Well, the last couple of days, in fact, this is some of the last things we shot today were the hurricane sequences, and some of them we had to not match to what we did at Universal, and we have the Universal tour, and it has a little bit of everything in it, you know, from Jaws to the crashing rocks and the train and all that. And in the back lot we have a lake, and they've put giant fire hoses in it and these giant dredging machines that cast up a lot of waves and everything, and it makes it somewhat to be a hurricane sequence. And we had a boat in there that we've moved from there to here, and they've somewhat assimilated the two to make them very similar. And some of the people that are at the condominium that have been watching the film, they said, this looks as real as a real hurricane. And it's just in small segments, you know, it's in small pieces that you can do that, you know, and it's very surprising to me, the power that a hurricane would have, because I haven't been in one.
It's
amazing. I experienced earthquakes in LA, but the wind machines and throwing the palm leaves and stuff, the wind machines and the rain and the water and everything, and the smoke, once you combine it and cut it together in sequences, and the boat being tossed and turned in, it'll look very real. And I guess it'd be very hard to capture a hurricane on film like they're trying to do here to get the action and the dialogue and everything, but as far as the effort's been put into the film, they've done very well.
Yes, thank you. We have a brand new 90-bed facility here. It's 4 stories altogether. The top 2 floors has our nursing units on it, ancillary and support service being on the ground floor and the first floor. In our ancillary departments, we have some of the latest technology in ultrasound, fetal heart monitoring, as well as a special care unit of 7-bed facility to take care of the cardiac as well as acutely ill patients. Also, that we have the building designed and laid out for efficient use of personnel and energy conservation, use some of the latest techniques in construction to keep our energy bill down as low as possible.
Now, we know that this is a 90-bedroom hospital on about 4 acres worth of ground. Could you tell us the cost of it and how many people are staffed here?
The building is over $5 million totally with the equipment that we have in it, and our staffing is running around 175 full-time employees. It's on a beautiful sitting here of 15 acres altogether.
Now, I know today you had the opening ceremony, and Lieutenant Governor Wayne Mixon was here. Now, I understand he said there's some real hope for this area. Exactly what was his message?
His message was, this is a frontier in Florida area. There's going to be a lot of growth and fantastic growth that we can't hardly comprehend now. And he really complimented our trustees and looking forward to providing the services that the people would need in this area. And also complimented the people in this area for voting for the bond issue to build this facility so they can take care of the future. Our medical staff is 16 physicians. We have 3 general surgeons, 1 ears, nose, and throat specialist, 2 radiologists, and the others are family practitioners.
It was about 2 weeks ago when the news was released that oysters taken from Oyster Bay in Wakulla County were blamed for 5 cases of cholera and 10 cases of hepatitis reported in South Alabama and Georgia. Within days, the seafood industry here in Gulf and Franklin County, over 50 miles from Oyster Bay, began to feel the effects of the adverse publicity. Jimmy McNeil, owner of Indian Pass Seafood Company, said the drop in his business was immediate.
Well, it was very definitely abrupt stop of all sales of oysters. Newspaper coverage, particularly in Alabama and Georgia, hit us immediately, and we had to close down last Wednesday evening, and we went back to work this past Monday.
Yesterday, Governor Bob Graham and other state officials gathered on the Capitol steps to eat Apalachicola Bay and Indian Pass oysters to prove that they're all right. McNeil said that changed things overnight.
Beginning before I got back home from Tallahassee, the orders began to come in. People had heard that we were endeavoring to get the governor to eat our oysters, which he graciously did, and there was immediate response. And this morning, we have gotten calls from Dothan, Alabama, Tallahassee, Florida, and Montgomery, Alabama, replacing their orders that they had canceled previously.
So is business now, could you say, back to normal?
Well, Beth, it's not quite back to normal yet, but a couple of more days, and with a little more help from you people in the news, we will be back to normal, and all of our oystermen and the people associated with the industry can have a good, normal Christmas.
Here in Apalachicola and Franklin County, the economy revolves around the harvesting, processing, and selling of shrimp, fish, and oysters. Brady Levins of Levins Seafood Company joined Jimmy McNeil in efforts to offset the damaging publicity.
Well, we had real good luck this morning. Out of a matter of curiosity, I started checking around with all of my customers, and Saturday I had a customer in Fort Myers cancel 150 gallon, and I called him this morning, and he sold more oysters this morning than he sold all week, so he's having to come back in here in the morning to purchase more to take back to Fort Myers area, because this has completely relieved the fright of everyone eating oysters. And I said it yesterday, that if they're good enough for the governor of the state of Florida, they're good enough for anybody.
Again, we've seen a dramatic example of how the news media affects our lives. Oyster season is at its peak now, and here in Franklin and Gulf County, where many daily livelihoods depend upon the seafood industry, Apalachicola Bay oystermen were badly hurt by the adverse publicity about Florida oysters published in Georgia and Alabama. But fortunately, this story has a happy ending. The good news that Apalachicola Bay oysters are as good as they always were turned things around, and business recovered as quickly and dramatically as it died. For us oyster lovers, it's a very happy ending. Whoever heard of oyster dressing on Christmas Day without oysters? In Apalachicola, I'm Beth Lawrence reporting for TV7 News.
That's what happens to downtowns. When they are redeveloped, they just start getting into banking institutions and offices and that type of thing.
What do you think we need to do to turn it around from its the current situation where it seems like most are moving out? What do you think we need to do to turn that around?
Well, I think the biggest problem, of course, to me is not only just parking, it's handy parking. Because I think that people will drive like to the mall and they might walk 3 blocks, but as long as they can see the building and walk inside, they don't mind the walking. But I know up the street here we have the Sears Roebuck parking lot that's hardly being used, and it's only a block away, but yet people will, they won't go up there and walk down. So we need handy parking space, and I think that's our idea actually, is to get parking space and knock some holes through these walls over to Harrison Avenue, so there'll be parking for Harrison Avenue stores and also the stores on the back streets.
There are others downtown who are pushing for redevelopment. The old News Herald building is being redesigned to house government offices. The new St. Andrews Towers has enhanced the beauty of downtown and provided additional street traffic for existing shops in the downtown area. Plus, the Downtown Redevelopment Board is working hard to provide a much-needed facelift for the district.
I'm very optimistic about downtown Panama City. In fact, I know Panama City is going to come back downtown.
Many merchants like Kahneman refuse to give up the ghost. They believe the best is yet to come. They note that downtown Panama City may change in character, but that's just part of the natural evolution of the inner city. There is no panic here, just plain good sense planning for the future. Larshay Hardy, TV7 News.
The air show is sponsored by the North Panama City Kiwanis Club, and proceeds will go to the Bay County Girls Club. Today, TV7's Tim Steele, who is producer of Daybusters and Televisit, climbed aboard a jet fighter piloted by Lieutenant Commander Jack Echo. Steele was taken for a 15-minute high-speed flight, complete with rolls and sharply banked turns. Afterwards, a dazed Tim Steele, with little color left in his face, bravely went before the TV7 camera. Tim, how do you feel?
I enjoyed it.
Could you describe the flight for us?
Just smooth. You know, I knew he explained exactly what he'd be doing, and the maneuvers were very smooth. Even if I couldn't hear him, I would have known what we were doing.
Were you afraid?
Not really. He's a good pilot.
Is this harder than producing Daybusters?
More fun.
Who are the Blue Angels for those of us who aren't real familiar with them?
Well, it's the Navy Flight Demonstration Squadron. We've been in business now for 33 years. Our primary job nowadays is because of the all-volunteer services, is recruiting.
Could you describe some of the demonstrations that you and the other pilots will be performing for the people here in Panama City?
Right. The folks here will see a 4-plane diamond formation flying about 36 inches apart with 2 solo pilots as our maximum performance demonstrators. They'll be making opposing maneuvers at upwards of 1,000 miles per hour closure rate. And near the end of the show, they'll all join up together in the 6-plane delta formation for some more rolls and looping maneuvers.
How many demonstrations per year would the Blue Angels normally put on?
We're on the road from mid-March all the way through mid-November. As a matter of fact, next weekend, after this weekend, next weekend in Pensacola will be our last show for the season. We're on the road pretty close to 280, 300 days a year doing air shows.
Did you ever think you would make pilot of a Blue Angel airplane? That's pretty prestigious, I believe, for the Navy.
Well, for me, I was a school teacher before this, so for a long time there, never thought I'd even be flying jet aircraft.
What's easier, kids or airplanes?
Airplanes.
The 3-hour aerial show at the municipal airport will be held Saturday and Sunday beginning at 1 p.m. each day. Show officials invite the public to come early, anytime after 10 a.m., to meet the pilots and parachute jumpers and to inspect the aircraft. Bill Oberst reporting for TV7 News. At 8:30 this morning, the Twister touched down in a wooded area south of West Central Avenue, just blocks from downtown Blountstown. In seconds, the Twister crossed Central Avenue and demolished Doug's Golf Station and Convenience Store. Inside were Doug Peacock and Jim Moran. They talked with TV7 News.
I thought all hell broke loose for a moment, but of course we heard it coming, and I had a chance to holler to Jim to hit the floor. And I did the same thing, and consequently, I think possibly that's, we had that much warning anyway, the noise coming from it.
Dave, you said you heard the tornado. What does a tornado sound like?
Exactly like you've probably heard many times, like a freight train coming down the track.
Jim, what were you doing when the tornado hit?
I was doing some paperwork inside, and I heard Doug yell, "Get down," and I didn't realize what was happening until the roof come off, and then I ducked down.
When the roof came off, what did you think?
I didn't think, no, I just got down just for safety.
From Doug's service station, the Twister cut across a small open field, taking several sheds with it. Then the Twister rolled over 2 houses, leaving destruction in its wake. Inside one of those houses, this lady.
It was terrible, and it was so fast, you really don't realize what's going on. I had some things on the carport, and I could hear the rain and the wind coming, so I opened the door to take the things in off the carport, and it was coming so hard and so fast till I started back in the house, and I could see all the debris and things blowing all around me inside the house. So I decided, and I had my breakfast cooking on the stove, and I decided to run back to the stove, but it was blowing so hard and everything till I just stood in the door here and closed my eyes and prayed to God to help me, and He did, and it just demolished our home, but we're okay.
As we stand here a short time after the tornado came through, I noticed that your clothing is just wringing wet, but outside of that, no injury.
No injury. I'm fine, just fine. And the rain was terrible. I was soaked. I just didn't realize it was so fast. You don't realize that the roof of the whole house was gone in just an instant.
I've heard that when a tornado strikes, a person should seek shelter, perhaps under a bed. Was there time for that?
No, but I always heard to get in a big frame of a door. So that's where I stood, in the frame of the door, because I felt like I would be safe in the frame.
And you think that's what saved you?
Yes, sir. I feel like that's what saved me. And with the God's help, that's what saved me.
From here, the Twister went airborne again, just missing a school filled with students. George Adkins called it a miracle.
It was a miracle that we had no injuries or no fatalities here in Blountstown. And it's a miracle it came within 150 yards of the high school while every student was in that high school. This is something I guess we can be thankful for, too.
I understand that most of the power is out in Blountstown at this time.
Yes, well, you necessarily have to cut off the power. It blew the power lines down on both going toward Marion and going toward Highway 20 out toward Clarksville. But the main thing is a lot of your power lines are down, and it's dangerous. So we don't know the damage, and you can have some live wires and electrocute people. But we think we're making progress, and we believe we'll have it in pretty soon. We will have everything operating pretty soon.
Some destruction, but no deaths, no injuries. That's the good part of this news event. In Blountstown, Bill Oberst reporting for TV7 News.
Who among us cannot remember the excitement of the circus when we were children? And which of us dares admit to ourselves as adults that the tent is not quite as big as we saw it then, nor the costumes as glittery, nor the performers as glamorous. Even so, let's pretend that we're still touched by the magic of childhood and go to the circus. Who can tell, some of that magic just may be recaptured. Are you going to the circus, Nana?
Yeah.
What are you going to see?
Elephants.
You like elephants?
Mm-hmm.
Would you ride on an elephant if you could?
Yeah.
You wouldn't be afraid?
Uh-uh.
Is that a big tent? Do you like that tent? How big is it?
Real tall.
Real big. What do you want to see at the circus?
An elephant.
Just an elephant? How about a tiger?
Uh-huh.
What do you want to see?
A cat.
Cat? Tiger cats? Would you be afraid? No? Would you ride the elephant? You ever seen an elephant?
I seen one on Tarzan.
You saw one where?
I seen one on Tarzan.
On Tarzan? Do you think he'd be mean? No? The Clyde Beatty Cole Brothers Circus, billed as the world's largest circus, is in its 99th season and is still one of the most fascinating entertainment forms in America. The posters advertise 100 center ring performing artists, giant elephants, a menagerie of exotic animals, and an authentic sideshow, and a caravan of 37 trucks and trailers. The circus, the big top, truly mid-America, reminiscent of Sinclair Lewis's Main Street. Although the sound of the calliope is missing from the streets of small towns, and there are no more working boys' tickets, the circus lives on, and still brings a shine to the eyes and a thrill to the hearts of small children. And big children, too. Joe?
Idaho tonight. Icy roads are a problem. And the Chinook winds are sort of melting some of that snow conditions, and at the same time it's causing a snow melt that with those Chinook winds, the temperature from Lander, Wyoming went from 11 degrees up to 39 degrees. Taking a look at our weather satellite photographs, you'll be able to see the moisture that's accumulating in the northeast, but you'll also see the frontal system that moved across Florida and brought with it the rain on Monday, and we were hoping that it would clear up, and it did. A beautiful Christmas day in Panama City today. Outside TV7 studios, right now it's 46 degrees Fahrenheit, 8 degrees Celsius. Our dew point's at 40, our barometer 30, 10 and rising, humidity 63%, and winds out of the northwest at 7 miles per hour. And that again, that looks like our forecast is going to remain. Oops, I think we have a new Oh, all of you who have been dreaming of a white Christmas, I just got a report that it's going to be snowing in Panama City. We're actually going to get some snow in Panama City. I never dreamed it would snow in Florida on Christmas. What do you say? Merry Christmas to all. Happy holidays from Channel 7.
We hope you enjoyed this trip back in time. Join us every Tuesday for this time travel exclusive only on News Channel 7+.